coming out today to the closing exhibition for Bryan Ghiloni's body of work titled Subway Sleepers. We have Bryan with us today from Ohio. Bryan Ghiloni is a professor of photo, video, and design at Central Ohio Technical College. He's a More Roots member. He is one of the co-founders of Gallery RFD, which is right here in Swainsboro, Georgia. And he's got a lifetime of experience in the field of the visual arts. So if we can give Bryan a warm East Georgia welcome, that'd be great. We'll turn it over to him. Okay, Bryan, shows you.
All right, hey everybody. Hey. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I had a big fancy lighting set up and a nice background set up, and it all went to pot. So now you can see my disgusting dungeon back here. There's my laundry and my spray paint collection. Some art supplies over here. So anyways, I guess I thought I'd just start by talking a little bit about how the body of work came to be. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, and then I'll just open it up for questions. I think that might be a better way of transmitting information. So right after college, I moved to New York City, followed my lifelong dream. It was a vast difference between New York and Savannah, where I was coming from, and I always found inspiration in new environments, and New York certainly was that, especially like my mode of transportation, which was the subway system. Subway was just so full of energy, and I loved the communal aspect of it, and obviously I was on it several times a day. But I began to notice these people that were falling asleep on the subway. It was just so bizarre to me that these people would allow themselves to catch a moment's rest in such a turbulent environment. It was dirty, it was noisy, it just seemed like the most unlikely of places to rest. So I began observing them and became fascinated with it. So naturally, I felt like I should probably take a picture of these people. So I started photographing them. And again, I was trying to figure out why I was taking these pictures. I mean, I knew I was attracted to it, but why? You know, you're sleeping on the subway, and you could be robbed, you could be assaulted, you could be photographed. You could miss your stop, which means that you don't pick up your kids, or you're late for work. It could really mess up your life. So so I began photographing these people, taking tons and tons and tons of images, thousands and thousands of images. And soon I had a greater cross-section of all these people sleeping on the subways, different demographics, different age groups, different races, different walks of life. And I knew the what, but I didn't know the why. So I kind of stepped back from the shooting process to analyze the images and see what it was that I was attracted to. And I think ultimately I came to realize that I was identifying with these people rather than just observing them. We were all kind of living in this turbulent city, this chaotic place, and trying to gain a moment's rest wherever we could, and that ended up being on the subway. And whereas these people were resting in this unfit environment, I was photographing. So we were all making use of this downtime to acquire the things that we needed. And you know, falling asleep in the subway kind of became synonymous with struggle, and those that were trying to make it in that rat race. So whereas they used it to sleep, I used it to make art. So it's basically where the body of work is coming from. So I guess I can open that up to questions and just see what you have to say.
Is there any manipulation in the photographs?
The only manipulation is bringing it down to grayscale, which they are originally in color, and then I would tweak the contrast just a bit really I wouldn't do anything that was not possible in a traditional darkroom.
That my favorite, I think, is that scratched window. That is just so cool. Was that a difficult shoot? Difficult to get?
Not really. That was actually an easy one to shoot because the train was stationary and just sitting there for a long time. So I had an opportunity to take several different angles and different close-ups, and that was just one of many I actually took on that shot. But I liked that one, how you could kind of make out the scratches, and then the subject was, you know, out of focus in the background. Is that Neil, by the way?
That is.
All right, I thought I recognized that voice.
Bryan, in my smartphone photography class, we're currently talking about ethics and image making. Did you ever feel like you were violating the privacy of the individuals you're photographing while they sleep?
Yeah, I certainly understand that dilemma, and that's something that I had to come to terms with myself before I proceeded with the body of work. And ultimately, I didn't feel like I was exploiting anybody in any way. And if they made it known that they didn't want their picture taken, I certainly would not take it. So no, I didn't feel like I was violating any ethical code there, because I wasn't trying to, like I said, exploit them or cast them in a negative light.
Did they take issue with you photographing them?
Occasionally some would. And again, if you know, they said, they give me a no, don't take my picture, I would certainly not take their picture. But usually they were asleep, so that helped.
Any really funny stories?
Funny stories? I can't think of any really funny stories. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but occasionally when someone would wake up in the act of me taking a picture, I could usually play it off. If it was a lady, I would just give them a little wink and go on my way, and they'd usually be okay with it.
Never got
say it again.
Never got slapped.
No, never got slapped. If it was a gentleman I was taking a picture of and he noticed, I would just be like, no, it wasn't you. It was over there. It's the guy right next to you, not you. So I'd usually play it off, but that's about the extent of it.
Bryan, with your background in design, you know, when I look at the body of work, I see a lot of purpose with the lines, the angles, the different planes that are contained within the images. You know, how much of it are you taking this sort of voyeuristic role as the street photographer, as opposed to this person with a strong background in design who's just arranging and composing images?
Yeah, I think it probably is 50-50 in that respect. I mean, if I had the time, I would certainly think it out and design it, so to speak. Compose it, take different angles, different shots. But a lot of times I was just completely on the move and it was on the fly, shooting from the hip. So in that respect, it was just very spontaneous and intuitive, with very little to no intention or thoughts on design. Really just capturing that image in the moment. And a lot of times those images ended up being the more successful ones, because you get outside of that comfort zone or that box that you know makes a good photograph. Does that make sense?
Yes.
How often would you estimate that you were able to take multiple shots of the subject?
As in, like how much time per shot?
Or just how many shots you could take? Like you catch somebody asleep and you got a shot. How often could you like hit several shots? Or how often did you just have to take one shot and move on?
It varied. It was all over the place. Sometimes it was just a single shot. I would keep my camera on rapid fire, so I would get, 5 shots per click. It's a good photograph. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Y'all
How
heard that?
often would you estimate you were able to take multiple shots of the slipper?
As in, like how much time per shot?
Or just how many shots you could take? Like,
Can you guys hear that?
Yeah. Called deja vu.
Yes.
One shot.
It varied. It was all over the place.
I'm hearing the
Sometimes it was
playback.
just a single shot. I would keep my camera on rapid fire, so I would get 5 shots per click to get photograph. Does that make sense?
You messed it up.
I'm not sure what's going on.
As in, how much time per shot?
Can you hear that playback test? Do you guys hear that?
Yes.
Repeating yourself.
Yes.
It varied. It was all over the place. Sometimes it was just a single shot. I would keep my camera on rapid fire, so I would get 5 shots per click to get photograph.
You messed it up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's going on.
As in, how much time per shot?
Playback
We can
test?
stop the broadcast and start it again, Brian. That'll work.
Repeating yourself.
Say that again, Des.
If we can stop this broadcast and start it again.
Okay.
Sometimes it was just a single shot.
Should I close this out?
Yeah, well, let me do it on this end. I'm going to see if, let me do it on this end.